Alright guys, I'm going to go over using the ceiling grid tile to do bathroom layouts, which is a really useful tool that we've just sort of figured out. So yeah, if everyone could go to the BIM folder, which is in Animate and Normal Management, and go to Tutorials. I should probably do this with you guys as well. Yeah, broadcasting. And then BIM tutorials, there's one for today, which will be the ceiling grid and rainwater pipe, or RWP. Today's date, I believe. And then if you open the bathroom tiles file, that'd be good. Okay, has everyone got that far? Cool, so there's nothing in it. That's deliberate. We're going to just quickly draw a bathroom using our sort of NMA resources. So if you go to your resource manager, if everyone's got that open, and double click on the file, and then find your symbols and your plugin objects, go to your M3 symbols. And I've already referenced this in from a library file, just to speed things up. But you can see we've got the level of detail for lifetime home bathroom arrangement. In the library file, there's lots of other symbols you could be using as well. And we want to try and make use of those as much as possible. So if we just drag that onto the design layer, we'll set the origin of that with the origin of our project, and we'll just double check to see if it's in the right class. So when you bring a symbol in, annoyingly, it doesn't put it in the right class for you. So you just need to go to Systems, so that's A, SS, and then it's 40, 15, 75, sanitary appliance system. Now we'll quickly draw some walls. So I think you can press 9, and that'll bring up the wall tool, or you can select it from the toolbar. We'll just use the 150mm generic wall setting. And if we just draw some walls around the bathroom, like so, these will come in the right class. And hopefully, if we look at that in 3D, because I've set my stories up already, they've already got height. You can see the bathroom objects has already got some 3D information in it. So very quickly, we've got a little bit of model. Last thing we'll do is we're going to draw a door. You might remember a few months ago we did a, has everyone followed? To that point as well, so rattling along. We talked about door and window styles, so we've started to use those on a couple of projects, and they're really, really useful way of quickly sort of editing all your doors and windows at once. So what I've done is in the library file, I've set up a residential door. And this has got all the sort of standard settings that we would need. We can still edit things individually, like door widths and things like that. But generally, it's got all the architrave set. It's got the right finishes set, the right fire ratings set. So when you come to your door and window schedules, it will just be effortless. So if we just place that down.
Sorry, where did those are?
Oh, sorry, I didn't. So if you go select the door, and then there's active definition in the middle there, and you can click that, and it will bring up your library file. We can also select other doors from the libraries, but we've kind of got a very simplified door that is kind of got all the settings that we typically use. So double click on that, and that will place the door. And then what we can do is you just notice that the architraves aren't working quite right. So we'll need to just edit that so that the jamb is the same width as the wall. So on the right over here, in the object info palette, there's a little tick box, hide style parameters. So if you tick that, that'll hide everything that you can't edit unless you go to the library file. That means that you've got far fewer tools, there's a bit less sort of information. And then we can just scroll down to jam and click use wall depth. And you can see if you scroll down that a bit further, it's just got some basic settings, but it's not got anything to measure in that. So if we, oh, and last thing, for BIM, we'll just stick that in the right class, which is a EF 2530 door window. Yeah.
What was the class for the bathroom symbol?
Systems, so it's A, SS, 40, 15, or 75. Okay, so we look at that in 3D. We've got a nice little bathroom with a door. Everyone got to that stage. Really easy so far. Nothing new, but I thought it'd be good to just go over it quickly. So then next thing we're going to do is create an interior elevation viewport. So that's in view and then midway down. So that brings up a little elevation viewport tool. If we just click it in the middle of the bathroom, I think we have to drag out and just make sure it's set at like 90 degrees. If you're doing this properly, then we could set all these things up with proper names. You could give each drawing a title, and it will automatically put the put that on the title little title icon. We probably won't do that now. We'll just stick it in, and then we'll go to our sheet view, and you can see we've now got 3 or 4 elevations. We've already got our toilets in, we've got our door in, so we've got a pretty decent bathroom elevation that you could use to put some BIMs on and set out. So now if we go to the bottom right-hand one with our toilet, we'll do it in this one as the main thing. So we're going to annotations there. We're now going to use the ceiling grid tool. So where was that again? It's in this one, isn't it? No. It's in the furniture one. So the little little icon of the drawer. If you click on there, and you can see there's the ceiling grid tool, which is probably bottom or second row on the right. If we select that, and then what we'll do is we'll just click on the tool options there. So it brings up ceiling grid preferences. So what we can do is we can set an angle to our tiles. So if we want to have like a herringbone pattern or to have them at like 45 degrees or something crazy, we can set a tile width. So I'll probably set them to be 600. And then tile width, I'll probably set them to be 300. So that's pretty standard size that we use. I can then draw like a polygon around the walls, around the bath, around the cistern, and very quickly, we've now got a tile grid. If I just send that to the back by going Apple B or right-clicking and going send to back, it hides behind the So what we'd want to do now is,
I think it's just a fill on the sink kind of issue.
I'll come on to that in a second. Don't panic. We'll get rid of it. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the tiles out. So I'm going to draw a center line up from my. Why is it not snapping? Okay, so I'm going to draw a center line up from the top of my bath, and then if I click on my grid layout, you get a little drag handle in the middle, so we can then drag that up to the top. I'm going to set mine out from the ceiling so that we get a full tile at the top, and we get maybe a cut tile at the bottom, maybe a skirting tile, and I could leave that line in if I wanted to, and write center line like we do on our bathroom layouts, but I'll just leave that there for now. Another thing to do quickly is just put it in the right class. So I've created a class that isn't in the template yet, but it will be. Where was it again? It's a system, and it's 25, 45, 88 tiling system. And then because I've got a class style set, it's already sort of showing up. It's a little bit fainter, so it doesn't dominate the drawing too much. Cool, is everyone followed up to that point? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't catch on the bridge how to sort of add the value.
You're right, Roger.
Well, the center line.
You just select it.
Yeah.
No, you select
So you just draw a line from the wherever you want to
tile.
Yeah. So just click on that.
To change it to
Blue cursor, and drag it to the point.
300.
And then there you go.
to changing. And then you can use this center line if you wanted to center it on the wash hand base.
Go there.
Or if you wanted to center it.
Tiles do not center in water.
We centered it on the wash hand basin.
Yeah, so you can center it wherever you want. Center it in the, so equally I could draw a line across here, and I could say, right, I'm going to center it on the middle. Yeah. So then if I've got a line across, I'll drag that to the middle, but now it's a bit offset, and to me, I prefer to set it on the center line. So now we've done that, and equally you could say, right, I'm going to have a bit of an upstand here, so I'm going to censor this bit on my sink. I got a really tiny sliver of tile there, so I might want to actually move my sink up in 3D to get rid of that. But once you've done that, the great thing about this is I can now just change the size of my tiles, and it will just change the layout. So I can just change it to, right, I'm going to go for a square 150 by 150 tile, and there you go, it's done. Or we could go for like 450, like larger format tiles or something. And then again, right, I don't want to set it out from there, I want to set it out from this far corner or something. Oop. Just drag it over to there, and that's done, nice and easy. So a couple of things, yeah, it doesn't work quite rightly on the sink. So what you need to do is, if you go back to your design layer and you double click on your interior elevation tool, what you now get is you get your kind of what they call like kind of vanishing lines. So you can see the cut line is here, and the extent of it is just at the outside of that wall. So if you move the sink cut line to be inside the sink, yeah, so if something's in elevation, it will display as clear, and that allows us to draw a tile, say, behind the wall, because otherwise it wouldn't let us do that. But if it cuts through something, then it will display it as a kind of solid object. You might want to do the same with the bath as well, as just drag that cut line, sorry, to. So when I go back to exit section lines, and then I go back to my viewport, sorry, Max's, and I go update, you can now see that we've got it's gone on solid. I'll admit that you still get a little bit of a glitch with the tap, but to be honest, you would actually tile behind the tap. So to be honest, I don't think that's a big deal. It's sorry. And then the last thing to do is just go to your classes, select all of these, and change them to be black. Cool. You guys all right? If you driving that through the kind of very
Even with the cut. Even with the cut.
I didn't need to.
Right, you didn't need to. Yours was solid.
Yeah.
Just anyway. Oh, so we've got a bit. Can we have a look at those section lines where they are?
You could do. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty.
Double click on those lines. Double click on that. So it is going through. Okay.
I'd recommend you consider if you want to check like a pattern or a bend, it's this and the thing. But,
So the only thing this will do is ground lines.
Just sanitary systems.
yeah.
Matt,
We've been
the
showing
bath,
I've got
is
it
it
in there.
just systems or
Yeah.
sanitary systems?
Sorry.
Sanitary
Yeah, you
systems
can
or
use a hatch and
is
say,
it just systems?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Minimal grade, so this is basically controlling.
And the level of detail of the bomb was it sort of display on elevation, or getting more elements?
So we drew boxing out in 3D. So we had a recess for the mirror and various other bits that were drawn in 3D. That's not enough symbol at the minute, and so with the lifetime frames, we're pretty much set on one sort of vacuum type now, so you could add that in as like an extrusion or something. But this is just kind of really minimal and just gives you the basics, but it's a good starting point. Cool. Okay.
So I'm just going to quickly run through a new. I think it was in the last release, a new tool, a new feature of Vectorworks. It's slab drainage. So if you ever needed to do sort of a runoff drainage for a roof plan or what have you, it helps you with that, and it gives you ideas of where your valleys and where your drainage points might be. It only works with the actual slab tool, which is a bit unfortunate. So it doesn't work with the roof. So if you did have a flat roof, you'd use the slab for the roof component rather than the roof tool, which seems a bit funny because you'd think that it would work with the roof tool as well. But we'll just have a quick look at it. I'm no expert, but at least I can share it so people can explore So you might not be aware that they've brought this feature in. So if we open up, it's in the same folder, and it's slab drainage and rainwater pipe. So open up that. There should be a slab already drawn. I'm looking 3D, yeah. So if you double click on slab, it gives you the options for boundary modifiers. At the bottom, we've got the drainage option, which is, so if you select the drainage and click OK, it gives you 5 tabs at the top in your toolbar. The first one's an edit mode, but because we haven't got any drains in there, there's nothing to edit. The second one is to insert a drain. The third is to connect drain points, and the fourth is to create valleys. And then we have an overall setting. So if you just open up the slab drainage settings, it lets you kind of define the slope or the gradient as a percentage at the top, and it lets you sort of select a drainage symbol, which could then be sort of exported for sort of quantities or points of lots of information for contractors about what kind of drainage you're having on the roof. We've got a bit I'm a bit unclear about, which somebody could explore, is the maximum heights and the elevation offsets, but we'll just leave those for now. So if we OK.
Matt, I haven't got a drain symbol.
Yeah, I haven't got a drain. Oh, right, that might be to do with your subscription libraries. Yeah, potentially. I think they come from Vectorworks. Has anyone else got that problem, not having a sort of option for changing your drainage outlet types?
Actually, not many to you.
Right, okay, yeah, I know you've got quite I think you've got
Keep going on.
yeah, it's just a different, I think my screen's in a, yeah, so it's not so important, but it might just help when you're creating your plan, showing where the actual drainage point is. So we select OK, and then we'll go to the second icon, which is insert drain. So for this example, we'll just pop it in the middle, quite simply. It gets a bit more complicated when you have two.
Sorry, what icon is that?
The second icon along.
You think okay?
The second tab along, and then just drop one in the middle. You can see I've got lots of sort of issues here. It's telling me that I've got that my run is it's fine, is it? It's probably because in your settings, in the drainage settings, if you double click again, you always have to double click on the slab because drainage. What it is here, it's your maximum height. So I've got mine set to 300. And I think what it's saying is at this point, the figures that it spits out in the corner are the actual heights of the roof at that point above its measuring line. So mine just saying to me, oh, they're hiding 300.
Can I look at it in 3D?
Yeah, sure. But be careful, don't press 1, 2, to view it. You have to use the 3D rotate for this. For some reason, because it struggles to sort of generate the information. So as you can see, it's given you a 4 and it's increased my roof build-up. Yeah. But you can see where the drainage runs are. So go back to plan view and double click on the slab, we'll go to drainage again, and then we'll use the edit, the first tab. You can pull your lines to line through to the corner, so you can make it a bit more accurate. Yes, yeah, you can, the valley lines you can direct to the corners. You can move the actual drain over here. You can pull the drain back, or, it just gives you options to edit the actual drainage. I'm going to try and figure out what the actual issue is here. Just quickly, if I change that to 100. You've got full control over what the arrows, what class they're on, and what text, or what class the text, the slope values on. So you can sort of turn those off in your roof plan, or you can have them on.
We've got a class for arrow, slope arrows.
Yeah, I would pop it into some sort of text annotation class down here or something, I think.
I think it's a full line. Yeah, so if you go full indicator
60/30.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go. Well, that's your drainage notes. I put it. Sorry, yeah. So you've got your slope arrows. They could go on fall indicators. Didn't realise we had a class for that. So you can put those on. Right. Okay. So you've got a bit of control in when it comes to sort of issuing a roof plan. You could turn things off or on. You might not want the ID or the elevation. It gives you a diameter of the drainage punch. It's quite useful information. Needs a bit of exploration. The other important thing is how it actually generates the fall. So if you open a resource browser and click on the file that's open, and we'll go to slab styles. This is kind of probably the most important thing to think about. I think it's, I'm not sure what roof it's on actually at the moment. Just double check. Just double check what slab. It's on roof type 1. So if we have a look at roof type 1, and we go to edit, it's this part here that's important. It has a new feature saying drainage, and if you click on fixed thickness slab, it will slope the whole slab, so every component will fall, including your structural members. Whereas if you sort of taper a component, you can select a component that you want to taper. So you might have tapered insulation, so you click it on the tapered insulation, for example. Or if you're having fairings, you might have a component that's called fairings, and then you tick it. There we go, I've got fairings. So I'm going to keep my insulation sort of 120 and tick till it's tapered the fairings rather than the actual insulation. Tapered insulation is expensive. Anyway, so yeah, it's important.
So what is the fixed thickness slab going at maximum?
The fixed thickness slab means that it will tilt tilt all the components towards the valleys and towards the drainage point, rather than a single component.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of important to remember. I mean, for this, yes, yeah. You might have a roof that does do that, but I think that generally we'll have a fixed flat roof and a lot of the time.
Yeah,
you never know. So if we OK that, because I think I've got a tapered component and I've chosen my fairings, asked me to replace the slab. I'm still getting mixed messages here. I'm getting sort of, I don't know why mine's doing that, to be honest.
It doesn't give you any guidance on the arrow on the little X.
Well, it says I'm above the maximum allowed elevation at this point. So this figure is at 1 meter. So if I changed, if I double click on my settings here and change my maximum height to over 1,000 for some reason, just to take away the clashes, I think that might work. There we go. This figure here, I'm going to look at it in 3D again. You should be able to see a fall. You see how big my roof build is at the moment. There's something wrong with this one. I hope, are your examples looking like this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. It might be something that I did yesterday on with the actual roof settings. If I changed, just try and yeah. I'll just quickly double click and one more time, have a look at the settings.
Then we're going to the questions.
Can you add multiple outlets?
Yeah.
Because obviously it's more likely that it's a flat roof.
Let's drop another one in. Yeah. Yes, you could do that. I mean, sometimes you have rainbow scaling internally.
Yeah.
But just for this example, I just simple. But you might have one on the outside here. Might insert another one.
Can I go back in a few minutes? Sorry, still
I think.
Thanks. Bye.
And then we'll just explore the valley tool. So you can create a valley between drains.
That's the far right one, yeah?
Yeah, sorry, the fourth tab along is just creating a valley between, well, it's not actually working on this. It should highlight that. Maybe I've dropped too many drains in.
The edge as well.
Sorry?
The valley can go to the edge as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
uh,
I've just created a valley at that point. You can connect drains, so from drainage to drainage, from drain to drain. It starts to get very complicated, but anyway, I think I've messed this one up.
How do you take one?
You go to edit, which is your first tab, and then you right click and you can delete, rotate valleys and edit drains. So you've got kind of options in there to do that. But it'll take someone to actually kind of explore this a little bit, but I just thought I'd share the kind of basic functions with you so you can have a play around with it and someone might be able to master it. So it might help us. I mean, a lot of the time we send things out to specialists and then come back with a kind of installation plan and how it works. But on the smaller jobs, you might not have that. So it'd be good to understand how your roof works and if it works. Okay, that's the slab drainage tool. I've got another quick thing just to show you that I might circulate around the office. It's a plugin. This is just a kind of watching part of the tutorial. You won't have this plugin on your computer, you have to install it. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on it if you think it's worth using. It's a rainwater pipe tool. So if I just find it, generally we'd use, I think we've been using the HVAC tool, which is kind of this square thing here, which is not really a rainwater pipe, but someone's gone and created a they call it downspouts, but it's actually a rainwater pipe. So you can select rainwater pipe and you can drop in your rainwater pipe. You've got quite a lot of control over the first height, the second height, the diameter, and the class of the first cut and the second cut. You can have rounded elbows. I'll just put that on a solid thing for now. Here we go. You can change the height to say 3 meters, for example. Oh no, that's not right. Hang on. Let's make it 4,000 up there. So that extends up there. The second height will be 1,500. Oh no. All the way around. First height, 1,500, say. And you could have elbows at the bottom, which brings in that little bit there. You can have angle bends or rounded bends. And you probably have to, because it's not story, it doesn't work with stories, you'd have to draw it on each design layer, but it might help when it comes to thinking about your rainwater pipes and your thicknesses and where they go. I don't know what you guys think about that as a tool, because generally we've been using something else. But you've got control over this being sort of dashed, these lines being dashed and this being a solid. So you have got a fair amount of kind of control. I'll just put it on something else so we can see. For drainage plans.
Oh, as in rainwater pipes and things like that.
Not necessarily as a.
Yeah, not necessarily as a 3D, but it kind of helps. You might have a patch.
Yeah.
Yeah, well that's it. It works for elevations. I've used it for elevations on one of my projects, and it gives you, it gives you an elevation. So it might help. I'll circulate the plugin. It's a bit of a fact, like just understanding how it's a good process to understand how you install plugins and then actually put the tool in your palette, because once you add tools, you can go to your workspace, edit current workspace, and you can drag and edit all these tool palettes. You can add things, take them away. That's why people look a little bit different on machine to machine. I didn't have the current match. I was missing. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, it's just two tools to do a drainage. Wow, that's difficult to say. Yes. If you want to play around with the slab drainage, that'd be good to get. Holly's got it going on. I'll circulate the plugin for the rainwater pipe, because I think it's a little bit more accurate than using this tool, which is more to do with ventilation and heat. And you can change that to circular and round, and but it's not actually a rainwater pipe tool.